This is going to be probably the shortest recap reaction for the season. This is game 11 out of 82, where the Winnipeg Jets lost by a score of 2-0 to the New York Islanders in a very traditional New York Islanders game. As you guys can tell, I'm wearing the Bomber merch. I'm still in town, but I went to the Bomber game tonight instead of the Jets. 2 games of Jets, didn't want to make it 3, had to go see the other local team. And it was a great game from the Bombers and a boring game from the Jets. But I guess it was about to happen. So we're going to keep this short. I'm probably going to keep this even under 5 minutes. I don't want to drag this out too long because all of my knowledge really comes off of what I saw from the analysts on Twitter, Sportsnet, and also just watching the highlights and a little bit of the extra kind of, highlight stuff that they'll have in those like extra long ones instead of the 10-minute ones. It'll be like 15. You guys know what I mean. But nonetheless, I don't have the most knowledge and in-depth breakdown for tonight for you guys because I had a really good time at football. So, looking at this from the Jets standpoint, why did they lose? Well, what it really comes down to is the Jets didn't play necessarily a horrible game. From what I can tell and what I can see, the perception was is that the Winnipeg Jets actually played a pretty good, solid game of hockey. What it really came down to is the fact that the Islanders play a very successful version of trap hockey. And when you apply trap hockey like that to a team as creative as the Winnipeg Jets are when it comes to their forward talent and how they generate offense, sometimes that can be an issue. And tonight it was an issue. When you compare where the Jets were last night against the Chicago Blackhawks, the obviously, different levels of skill that you're going up against between a Blackhawks team that has been horrible to start the year, where you actually have their entire coaching staff getting fired the day after they lost that game because it was that bad. That was the straw that broke the camel's back, and it was about time because they've had an awful start. And then you come into this game against a more composed, Stanley Cup contending Islanders team that doesn't have a lot of amazing talent on it, but of guys that know what their job is and do it perfectly. They are very well coached. They are one of the best defensive teams in the NHL, if not the best defensive team in the NHL. So the Jets were coming into this game expecting an uphill battle. Just off of that alone, not to mention the fact that Eric Comrie was in net for back-to-back games. Do I have a problem with Eric Comrie being in net after his performance last night? Absolutely not. I just don't agree with having a backup goaltender be called up from the AHL and Mikhail Burden, sending the Moose on their way with only one goaltender in Arvid Holm, and having that just be an issue, I feel like, for the Moose as well as having it for the Jets, because Comrie tonight, even though he wasn't his fault that they lost, and even the goals that were scored necessarily weren't even anything to do with him, really. Obviously, that Nelson goal, there was a lot of net for him to shoot at. That's because Comrie's small, and I would say Comrie positioned himself pretty well. I think Comrie had a very composed, well played game, really. Like, the goals that went in were just the Islanders taking advantage of the Jets with their trap defense and taking advantage of that and scoring a goal. That's exactly what they do best, and it's what we saw, especially tonight, with how they played the game. Now, obviously, you can make arguments that I've seen people saying that Paul Maurice didn't do enough line juggling. That's something we've seen before, but again, in a game like this, you're still generating offense. It's just not constant, and it's a lot more tipped, direct type of deflection and stuff like that. You're going to generate a lot more offense like that and potentially score goals when you're being creatively, put a strangle on you, basically, because you can't score that many goals as the Jets do when they're so creative that they are against a trap type team that completely shuts them down in the neutral zone. So I think that the Jets, probably based off of what I saw, they maybe could have done a little bit more interesting type line combos to generate something, obviously, because it was a shutout. But I'm not going to blame Paul Maurice and the coaching staff for losing a 2-0 game where Lee scored in the first period, I believe, and then Nelson coming in and getting one into the start of that third period. So you don't really have a game where you have 2 very spaced out goals and a lot of opportunity in between for the Jets to kind of get a few lucky bounces here and there for the Jets, and this could be a completely different game. It wasn't, obviously, but that still doesn't mean necessarily that the Jets had a bad night. I thought that there were some good individual performances from the forward core. I really liked what we saw from the existing forward lines already, along with the defense, although there were a couple of those collapses where the Jets kind of struggled a little bit in their own end, turned the puck over from time to time. That was just more of the type of pressure and the neutral zone pressure that the Islanders are able to put on because of that trap style defense. So I really don't think it was the Jets struggling and having a bad night. I just think it was a team that's already still trying to find their way with their new defensive strategy and how they incorporate D-men into the rush. I think that was just really, again, them showing their weakness in that, still trying to find that game, even though it's been much improved every night for the last, I'd say, 2 weeks, maybe even a week and a half. I'm not exactly sure. But I would say for a good long while now, since those first 3 games of the season, since that Minnesota game, I would say it's been on an uphill battle, but they've been winning it slowly and sturdily. But nonetheless, tonight, I thought that there was an example of that where they were just playing good hockey, still making the mistakes that they have been, but against a team that really knows how to capitalize off of those mistakes in the Islanders. I don't think we have anything to worry about. Obviously, Tuesday, the day I leave, we'll be playing against St. Louis with the first time they wear the Heritage jerseys this year. Looking very excited to that. I also think it's a giveaway for you lucky guys going to the game in Winnipeg. I'll be flying home that day, so I don't get a chance to go. That doesn't mean I haven't had a great time here, though, watching the games that I did, and this Bomber game as well. Every game I went to here, they won. So even though I didn't go tonight and they lost, it sucks. I'm happy that at least I got to see them win. So let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below about this game. Let me know what you thought, what was your favorite moment, what the Jets could have done better. I'd love to you guys educate me on this game a little bit instead of me educating you the other way around this time, because I didn't watch the entire game. I just watched a lot of highlights and some clips from time to time. So let me know your thoughts on this game, as always, down in the comment section below. Make sure to subscribe regardless of the team that you root for. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and all my other affiliated links down in the description below. And also make sure to check out the Prairie Puck podcast. Spotify link is in the description. Have a great rest of your night. I know it's later upload, so enjoy your, I guess, Sunday morning when you'll be watching this. Have a great rest of your day, and go Jets, go.